Hey guys, how you doing? It's August 5th today, and we're back over here at Domino's, and gosh, they just look cool together, you know that? All these tractors lined up, they just look cool, don't they? Getting some shade. Anyhow, we're back over here at Domino's, and I'm over here today because I couldn't really help it. I had to come back and put a longer shock on here. That way we've got good travel in this seat. So before it was compressed about 3 inches, so there really wasn't much travel in it. And I don't like, first of all, I don't like bumpy rides. Second of all, I don't like doing things half-assed. So that's part of the reason I'm over here. The other part is I got a good idea from Matt about mounting this fuel tank, and I picked up some things from Fleet Farm, and I'm gonna see if it works. Looking at it, I'm not sure if it will, but I'm gonna give it a shot and we'll see what happens. And last but not least, I got some slow moving vehicle signs I gotta mount on here so that it's street legal. So for the time being, let's see if I got this starting procedure down. I'm just going to move it over on the side of the garage so it's easier to work on. But let's see. I already turned the fuel on, so I'm going to give it a little bit of throttle here. Choke. Turn the ignition off. Turn off the choke. Spark. I think that's the trick. I gotta give it more throttle. She runs good. I'm gonna set the camera up. That way you guys can kind of see from a distance as I come around the side of the garage here. is a nice view in the sun for you guys. Sure does run beautifully. Little hiccup now and then, but any second now it'll start running out of fuel. There it is. All right, let me get my stuff together and we'll start on this start on these triangle signs. All right. Alright guys, well, we made our bracket, and all it is a simple piece of strap steel, and I just drilled a couple holes and then bent a 90-degree angle on it and drilled another hole and mounted it right to the top of the platform there. And then for the fuel tank, instead of using the straps, I picked up a couple of these turnbuckles that have hook ends instead of loop ends, and then I put a jam nut on there, so I tighten them each down against the fuel tank, and then tighten the jam nut against the turnbuckle, and that'll keep it from moving. So it should be just fine, just like that. So I think what I'm going to do now is cut off all the longer carriage bolts underneath here. I'll cut all those off. That way they're not hanging down, and that should be pretty much it for the F20. I'll have to make a couple more brackets, one for the H and one for the John Deere A, because I've just got that sign wired up to the shock on the A. So let's let me get those done, and I'll get back with you. All right. Well guys, I decided to make a bracket for the M as well. So now the triangle's down below the seat, technically legally where it's supposed to be, in the center of the vehicle, but if you remember, it was up here on the loader bracket or upright. But essentially all I did was, again, I cut a piece of strap steel about 12 inches long, and then I drilled it with 5/16 holes and put a bend in it to come down to the PTO shield bolt. So there's 3 bolts that attach the PTO shield, one here, and then one on the other side here. But I don't have a PTO shield. Eventually someday I'll get one, in which case I'll probably have to modify the bracket, but that's alright. For now it's working, and I'm quite pleased with my craftsmanship. So anyhow, I'm just kind of enjoying the day now, not really doing much. So should probably check and see how much fuel is in the F20. Get to see what kind of fuel checker stick I can find. This one looks like it'll work just fine. 1 by 1. That'll work. So I just want you guys to know too, if you ever have any suggestions for videos, anything like that, don't be afraid to ask. Ooh, not much in there, a couple inches. So don't be afraid to ask, because I'd be more than happy to make a, do video suggestions whenever I've got time. So put that in my new toolbox. So it's just a little too thick to hang the oil can on the edge there. So reminds me, I got to roll up this strap. That's Domino's strap. So I might I know what I can do. Once I go home, I'll take that H out, maybe, or maybe I could do a video of the Allis WD too, or put that in this video. Why don't I do that? I'll get this strap rolled up, I'll put the F20 away, and then we'll make our way home, and maybe I'll do a feature on the Allis WD and a quick startup and walk around of it. So alright guys, well, we're over here working on the H now, and the patina, or the boiled linseed oil, brought out the patina pretty well. It kind of has a dull shine to it. I don't know if you guys can tell in the video, but it looks a little bit better in the sun. But right now I've just been working on getting these headlights working. I had a bad ground on this one. The housing wasn't grounding to the rest of the tractor, so everything works now. Just switch has got kind of a bad contact in it, so there we go, we got lights. And all I did for that was I cleaned the shaft on the light bar, I cleaned the inside of the light mounting tab, and then I cleaned the actual stud for the light housing mount. So that's what I did there. Another thing is I released the brake, but I'll take care of it in a second. The inspection cover for the clutch was just hanging down by one bolt, so I took and scraped all the grease off of that and put new bolts in it and put it back in place. But I think right now what I'm going to try and do is put the belly pump up, and I just noticed that I'm missing the cover for the belly pump. So that's not a huge deal, but I'll have to find one of those. If anybody's got an extra one laying around, feel free to let me know. That would be really awesome. Oh, that reminds me, I have to stick this Ford wrench. Got to stick that in there. Put it in the toolbox. I think I'm going to keep it in the toolbox for now on the H, just because it'll be kind of out of sight, out of mind. That way nobody tries to take it. So there it is. It's in the toolbox. And I've also got my fuel measuring stick. So there we go. Little by little we're getting there. But let me get the belly pump set up here. I got to get my floor jack, and then I have to take all the fittings out of it in order to put it up in place. These fittings have to be removed. This fitting, I got to take the cap off, and then I also have to remove the actuating arm. So let me get that done, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so this is kind of the plan. I don't have the drive coupler that goes in here, so it's not going to be turning, which is fine because I'm not going to put fluid in it. But there's an actual coupler that goes between, here, let me show you, goes between the drive on the hydraulic pump, and then let me take this thing out of the mount, and then it goes on the drive on the transmission. So, but that's fine because I'm not going to put fluid in it. I'm basically putting the pump in here just to get this thing off my garage floor. So as you guys know, I'm limited for space, but grab the dipstick. anyhow, this is very heavy, so I want you guys to know that this is not ideal doing this by yourself, but you can do it. So it's just a matter of getting it balanced and then lifting it up into place. So actually, I gotta move it forward a bit here. It's not the easiest task by yourself, but you can do it. Just got to be very careful. And that's actually all I've got for lift height. So let me see if I can get a 1x. Gonna have to attack this from the other side here. If I can get enough height out of it where I can get the bolts started. That one started. Other one here. I gotta get some shorter bolts. These ones will work. Surely will. So it's really not that difficult to get this thing up in there. You just gotta kind of pay attention to what you're doing and be careful. And the M's are a little bit trickier because they're a heavier unit yet. There we go. Belly pump's in place. So like I stated before, there's a drive shaft that goes between the drive for the belly pump and the actual drive coming out of the transmission, the output. So I don't have that, and I believe it stays in place by one having a slot that's horizontal and one having a slot that's vertical. So I'm not positive on that because I haven't inspected these before, but I'm thinking that's how it works. So if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. But yeah, anyhow, that's where we're at. And then I'll just install the, oh, I should probably cover that. I'll install the hydraulic outputs, and then if you look inside here, this is where your actuating lever goes, and there's kind of like an X that's machined into it, and you have to make sure that the hydraulic lever is lined up so when you, how can I say this, basically it's got to be able to go both ways. To release pressure would be down, and then to apply pressure or to engage the pump would be back. So make sure that when you install it, the lever isn't like this or like this. Make sure that it's leaning towards the oil filter at about a 45-degree angle. But I'll show you that more when I get all the parts here. Let me grab them. This one's going to go back here. I'll grab my pipe wrench. Should be tight on that one. Okay. Alright, so as I was saying, the actuating arm has 4 teeth to match the drive of the belly pump, and it should be in this position when you install it. Let's see if I can. So this would be raise and this would be lower. See how that works? You pull it back to raise the implement and then down to lower. And it'll actually be held in about this position. Oh, let me get a bigger socket here. I'm also missing the control rod for this, so just like that. So that's what I'm missing. I'm missing the hydraulic control rod that goes up to here, and then I'm also missing the cover plate for behind the belly pump and the drive mechanism. So, or I should say the drive shaft rather. But I think that's going to do it for the H today. So let's get back over to, let me get cleaned up first, but then we'll get back over to my neighbors and we'll fire up the WD and I can give you guys a quick tour on that. How's that sound? Alright. Give me a second. Alright guys, we got it all cleaned up, and I forgot to tell you that I fixed the seat's pivot point my own special way. Usually there's 2 rubber washers or rubber bushings in here, but I instead used a 3/4 bolt. I think it's 8 inches long, and then I took some steel spacers and I cut them so that they would fit between the seat post itself, and then it would go through the bracket for the seat. It's not correct, but it'll work, and it's actually pretty solid. And I had 2 worn out seat springs, one from the M and then one that was on the H. So I installed one inside the other and then used a hose clamp up top just to keep them together. And now we have the seat's very rigid, and it's got good spring in it. So, and we mounted the slow moving vehicle sign, so now we're street legal. But let's go ahead and head back over there, and here, I'll put the camera, I think, here today. I think it'll stay here, maybe not. Guess we'll find out. I got a better idea. How about this? Whoop. I think this will work. Might get some shake in there, but we'll find out. That's as straight up and down as I can get you. Make sure the fuel's on. I always turn the fuel off just as a habit, so. here is the WD. And let me turn the fuel on. I can't remember what year this thing is, but it runs terrific. Something we can't figure out is it smokes a lot. So it has 150 pounds of compression in all cylinders. So I'm guessing it's probably got worn valve guides. That would be my guess, but I can't imagine that the rings are stuck to the pistons with the amount of compression it has and as good as it runs. So let me fire it up and you guys can see how well it runs. Runs really well, but it does smoke quite a bit. A couple things we did to it is we did make a new, I believe this is the PTO engagement. We made a new rod for that. And then there's a lot of play in the hand clutch lever, so we made a guide so that there isn't as much play with it. Go ahead and park it, and that'll be it for today. I think that's going to do it for us today. Really quickly, this is one of our club members' Model A's. I think it's a 47. It's a late model 47 because it's got the stamped steel frame, but we have to put a new crankshaft in this because the splines are worn pretty bad and we're getting a lot of knocking in the clutch, and we don't want to ruin the driver. So, but this one will be at the Nowthen Threshing Show, and he did a really nice job on it. So shout out to Tony K, because it's a nice looking tractor. He's also got a unstyled AR and a Model B. I think it's a 49B. So anyhow, thanks for watching, thanks for wrenching, and as always, stay tuned, guys. Okay.